Greetings, Caribbean fans, and welcome again to the massive hit cricket show, your place for all the live World Cup action. As we as we get into this World Cup, the West Indies importantly begins their tournament with a solid win over Scotland. The West Indies sent into bat scored 182 for 5 with the Hitmeister. Shimron Hitmeister, fresh off the flight from South Africa after being late, came in and really continued the form that he's shown over the last couple of series. He showed form in Afghanistan, showed form in South Africa, and everyone would have been worried. What's going to happen with Shimron Hitmeister here, especially with him having the unfortunate issue of not having been able to get over to India early, but it didn't affect him one bit. As I said yesterday in my show, players like Hitmeister and all these guys who play IPL and modern day cricketers in general, they're used to just getting off a flight and coming out there and performing. So Hitmeister didn't skip a beat. He got 64 runs. Rutherford got 26. Rodman Powell got 24. Curry, who bowled a very good spell there for Scotland, 2 for 23. Scotland, 147. A bit of a scare, I would say, there in the sort of middle period when Scotland was batting. Obviously, the West Indies had a very good bowling power play against Scotland, but Scotland really recovered there. And there was a point when Scotland really looked as if they would have threatened the West Indies, but Romario Shepherd came 5 wickets, 5 for 20, the third West Indian to get a hat trick in T20 international cricket, following Jason Holder and also the chess roll boss Shamar Springer, who did that in Afghanistan recently. So huge congratulations there to Romario Shepherd. Huge congratulations to the West Indies team. This is a huge win in the context of this tournament. Also, Jason Holder, by the way, 3 for 30 runs, finishing off fairly well. Considered a couple of boundaries in his last over, but overall, he went for 30 runs in 3.5 overs. So I don't think we could have asked for much more. West Indies winning by 35 runs. So good win there in the context of this tournament. West Indies get off to early, get sort of front runners, I would say, in this group now, because they've gotten the early points. Because again, you can easily lose one of these associate nations, and then you're under pressure for the rest of the tournament. So very good win for the West Indies. Again, everyone, good morning. Welcome to the show. If you're just waking up, the West Indies off to a winning start in World Cup action. Shimron Hitmeister and Romario Shepherd, the stars of the day. Hitmeister actually picked up the man of the match award, which was pretty surprising, seeing that he made 60 odd runs, and Shepherd would have picked up 5 wickets. Hitmeister, by the way, also had a brilliant catch on the boundary. Now, I'm going to get into the performance today. Again, drop your comments, by the way, if you have any thoughts on the game today. Let us know how you feel about this performance by the West Indies. Where can the team improve? What did the team do well? Because here on Massive with Cricket, in the we're going to be balanced in our assessment and in our approach. So we're going to talk about the good. We're also going to talk about the bad. We're going to talk about where we can improve, because we're going to, obviously, yes, a win is very important and a win is a win. But we also want to talk about how we can improve, how we can get better going forward, because we're going to face stiffer opposition at some point, right? We're going to face teams that are going to give us, just a little bit more of a push, right? So I think there are many areas in which the West Indies can improve, but obviously we want to start with the positives today. All right, so toss was won by Scotland, and they put the West Indies into bat. We spoke about it before this game, that in Eden Gardens, it's a chasing ground, right? It's a ground that's very difficult to defend. But for me, I actually think it was a good toss to lose, because against teams like Scotland, against teams like Italy, I think as a batting unit, if the West Indies can put up a big score, it's going to be difficult for these teams to chase a big score, because they're a little bit less experienced, as far as high level international T20 cricket is concerned. Nepal, I think, is a different story. I think a team like Nepal, with all those spinners, they would want to put a middling score on the board and then perhaps look to squeeze the opposition. So a huge difference in terms of how you'd want to approach these types of teams against England. I think the West Indies obviously have to chase. But let's focus now on this game. Um, West Indies, as I mentioned, 182. Looking at the West Indies batting display, Shea Hope and Brandon King got off to a solid start, a 50-run opening partnership, but very, very slow partnership. I definitely, I think they would have, in my opinion, they would have been a little bit cautious because of losing those 4 wickets in the power play in the warm-up game against Afghanistan, and perhaps a little bit worried about a top order collapse from the team. So going forward, I think both will get better. Hope scoring at less than a run a ball, King scoring at a little bit over a run a ball. So the West Indies will want to do a lot better when it comes to the power play and how they approach it. After 7 or 8 overs, I think we had about 53 runs. So I think going forward, the team will definitely after 7 8 overs, they'd want to have 70 to 80 runs on the board. So that's one area in which the West Indies are can look at. But the acceleration in those middle overs, I think, very, very crucial, very, very critical. Hetmeyer and Rovman Powell put together a brilliant partnership during the middle, and they really accelerated very, very well. And that was refreshing to see. At the end, the West Indies lost wickets at crucial time, lost Rovman Powell at the wrong time. I mean, there's never a good time really to lose wickets, right? And the West Indies obviously would have lost those 2 guys, and then Rutherford would have also gotten out at the end. So the West Indies weren't able to really capitalize on what they did in that sort of middle phase and get to a score that would have been out of the reach of Scotland. But for me, I think at the end of those 20 overs, the West Indies would have definitely felt as if we are 20 to 25 runs short. I think in this opening encounter at Eden Gardens against Scotland, the West Indies would have definitely wanted to go in with 200, 205, 210 runs. It was not to be, but I think one positive that would have come out of this, and one positive that I would have looked forward to, is when our bowling comes under pressure, how will we respond? And I think for me that was very, very important, because going deep into this tournament, you will face stiff opposition. One of our live World Cup action. Yeah, one of the problems with the West Indies team, obviously, is the bowling, right? We can't hide from it. We know that the bowling is a huge issue in terms of us defending score, us defending that power play, getting wickets in the power play, and also defending at the depth. So coming under pressure, early against Scotland, I think would be very, very good for the team going into the latter stages of the competition. Now, I want to big up Jason Holder, who took his 100th wicket, T20 international wicket for the West Indies. Huge for him again, as I mentioned earlier. Jason Holder, the first person to take a hat-trick in T20 internationals for the West Indies team. So big up to Jason Holder. Romari Shepherd today becoming the third to take a hat-trick, following, of course, the chess roll boss, Shamar Springer, who took a hat-trick against Afghanistan recently. For some reason, this phone keeps going off. Yeah. Who took a hat-trick against Afghanistan recently. I'm going to get to your comments, guys. Yes, Englishman, respect. Definitely a great game this morning. India getting licks, yeah, for sure. Yeah, India's playing against the USA right now. India picked up a couple of early wickets, but yeah, India is definitely getting a bit of a tap right now. All right, so let's get into the West Indies bowling performance, and I'm going to talk about the selection also of the West Indies team, but I want to leave that for a little bit later because there are a couple of things there that I would adjustments there that I would have obviously have liked to have seen, and a couple of things that I didn't quite agree with in this game. But let's address the bowling performance first. Good power play, by the West Indies. Um, Matthew Ford bowled a couple of overs. Again, I'm not quite sure, how only bowled 2 overs, right? And as a main bowler, I'm trying to, see is there a way for the team to get someone like a Matthew Ford to bowl, more overs, for this team. Obviously we know that he's only good when the ball is new and when the ball is swinging. So I'm not sure, how they'll sort of get that going, but that's something to definitely look at. Akil saying not bowling in the power play at all. Um, Akil saying definitely someone who, when he bowls early, he certainly gets that bit of extra confidence. We know one of his main deliveries is that arm ball, that sort of in swinging ball to the right handers. Once he comes on with the older ball, he's not able to really execute that delivery as well as he normally would. So something to look at there. He didn't have a particularly good game today. Definitely went for some runs. We're gonna have to definitely get him going. But great to see Gudakesh Moti in form. Great to see Gudakesh Moti having a good bowling performance for the West Indies team, and that's gonna argue well for the team going forward. Um, uh, you know, in our WhatsApp group, I keep talking about the vigorous um, discussions, that sort of goes on there, and Romario Shepherd is seen as the sixth bowler in this team, and perhaps not a guy that many of us trust with the ball coming on to the latter stages of a game. When there was 4 overs to go, and Scotland, the game was sort of in the balance, and we were discussing who's going to bowl the final 4 overs because obviously Jason Holder had one left, Shamar Joseph had one left, and the talk was who's going to take the responsibility. Is it going to be Shepard? Is it going to be Matthew Ford? Is it going to be um, Akil Hussain? One of those, of those three, we needed 2 overs to come from that. And once Shepard gets the ball, I'm always a little bit worried about what's going to happen. But Shepard got the ball and picked up a hat trick, 4 wickets in that over. And, huge kudos to Romario Shepard, really hitting his Yorkers and executing very, very well. And that's going to be the name of the game for the West Indies team. It's really execution. All of these guys have ability. All of these guys can get the job done. But executing under pressure, importantly, is going to be very, 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 very crucial for this team. Now, the West Indies main Achilles heel, as far as I'm concerned, one of the main issues, and something that is a controllable, because you want to control the things you can control. If the guys are going to bat as well as they can bat, they're going to bowl as well as they can bowl. But I think one area, if hopefully you guys are seeing me. I think I might have lost connection there for a little bit. But one area where I think the West Indies can control is the fielding. A couple of sitters today. Jason Holder, who's normally very, very good in the field, obviously dropped one, that went up in the air off Shamar Joseph. I think Jason, go ahead and hit the like button, guys. Hit that thumbs up. Let's get those likes up. Let's get those likes up to 60 likes. Um, let's get those likes up, guys. Let's get it up. Let's go ahead and get those likes up. Yeah. So Jason Holder dropped what appeared to be a sitter. Obviously, he indicated later on that the lights may have been shining down in his eyes. So you know, and again, those catches are perhaps perhaps they might look easier, to us than they really are, right? If the light is shining down in his sort of view, then maybe it's going to be difficult. But then Matthew Ford also dropped an absolute sitter. So I think these are areas where the West Indies can improve and where the West Indies will need to control. Um, because obviously, we don't have the greatest bowling attack going around. So we will definitely have to make that up in the field. And that brings me now to team selection. Now, for this West Indies team, I for me, we don't want to score own goals, right? We don't want to make errors in the back room, in the selection room, going into these games. And I, for one, felt that a Ruston Chase, yes, I understand that the Scottish batting lineup is filled with right-handers, and I'm pretty sure matchups would have been a part of this discussion, right? For teams with heavy left-handed sort of heavy, a few left-handers, they might go for a chase. But when there are a lot more right-handers, the team might decide that we won't want to go for the off spinner who turns the ball into the right-handed batsman. I don't quite agree with this, because I do believe that Chase is a smart performer. I feel as if Ross and Chase is someone who actually bowls well to right-handers. We would have seen this in SA20 as well, where he pushes the ball into the right-handers and sort of cramps them for room, bowling sort of into their pads. So for me, I would look at someone like Chase, who is actually our most economical bowler and our best fielder, right? And look at, yes, we don't necessarily want Chase to bat in the top order, especially if we're going well, right? He doesn't have to play as a batsman, but I feel as if he's someone who we have to play in these games going forward. And I, in the team that I would have selected, obviously, I had Matthew Ford out, and I had Ruston Chase in. And that's where I would have gone. Again, those little sort of one percenters, I feel the West Indies team will need to take advantage of. I just don't believe this team has room for too much in terms of errors, right? I feel we have to put our best foot forward at all times, and especially in fielding. And Ruston Chase, would be the best fielder in this team, and also one of the best bowlers, an economical bowler. So I think in terms of team selection, that is something that we would need to get right going forward. We will play against stiffer opposition. We will be challenged more going deep into this tournament. Our next game will be against England. And we know that the English, they're going to come very, very strong at us, right? We can't afford to drop a Phil Salt or a Joss Butler or any of these guys, really, a Harry Brook, right? These are guys that will hurt you. Of course, the Scottish guys will hurt you as well. But the West Indies team will need to really clean up in that area. We will need to make sure that our fielding is at a certain standard going forward in this World Cup. If we're looking to go far, and again, I'm gonna say it again, Darren Sammy has said, and he should say, right, that he feels that this team can win the World Cup, right? So that is how the coach is supposed to feel, right? It doesn't matter what we think. They're supposed to be very, very bullish about the chances of this team going forward in this World Cup. So again, improved feeling is something that we're looking for from this team, and of course, I certainly would like to see someone like Ruston Chase come into the team for the next game against England. And again, for me, I'm looking at the balance of the attack. How can we get our best bowling attack out there? I'm not so much concerned with my bowler who's batting at 9 and 10 being a good batsman. I mean, all of these guys can handle themselves with the bat. I think Shamar Joseph would be the number 11 today. Akil Hussain would have been the number 10. Both of these guys are no mugs, right? Both of these guys can handle themselves. So I would certainly be looking to swap a Ross and Trace for a Matthew Ford going into game 2 against England. Um, in in our let's switch gears a little bit. Let's study in our World Cup action today, just to give you a bit of an update. Pakistan played the first game in this World Cup. Very, very scary um, for the Pakistanis there. Very, very close game, winning in the last over against the Dutch. The Netherlands batted first. They scored 147, with Edwards getting 37, the lead getting 30, Misra 3 for 24, Saim Ayub 2 for 7, Abar 2 for 23, Nawaz getting 2 for 38, winning only by 3 wickets. That game came right down to the wire. With Farhan getting 47 and Farhim getting 29, 148 for 7 beer for the Pakistanis. All right, so if anyone is just joining us, the West Indies, we start our campaign off with a win, and we're now top of the table in Group C. So front running in Group C, and hopefully the West Indies can do enough to qualify for the Super 8s, which I really think we should be able to. The next game is going to be against the English. The West Indies today sent him to bat 182 for 5 with the Hitmeister fresh off his travels into India, getting 64 and looking in ominous form, just as he did in South Africa, and looking really business-like, as we would have spoken about over the last couple of weeks. Rutherford getting 26, Powell 24, Scotland 147, with Barrington getting 42, Bruce 35, Shepherd getting a hat trick, the third West Indian to get a hat trick, to pick up a hat trick in T20 internationals, and picking up 5 wickets, 4 wickets actually in 1 over. And Jason Older getting 3 for 30. The West Indies winning by 35 runs. So positive start for the West Indies. We look forward to match number 2 for the West Indies team, which will be against England. And we will be here, of course, with a preview of that game. Right now, we have India taking on the USA, an exciting game going on. So we'll continue to check out the World Cup action. Let me try to get a score here. India is struggling. So India struggling at 72 for 5. So looks like a fair bit would have happened here. Shivam Dube went for a duck, and Rinku Singh is also out. So India here is struggling. Ishan Kishan 20, Tilak Varma 25, Surya Kumar Yadav. So the USA having India under pressure here is very, very wow. All right, so we wouldn't have seen this coming. Shadley, picking up 3 wickets of 13 runs off 3 overs. So yeah, guys, the Indians, they're struggling against the USA. Wow. Yeah. And actually, thanks for that, boy. Boy here correcting me here. Shepard has actually picked up 2 hat tricks. Boy, if you don't mind dropping in the comments, when did Shepard pick up that other hat trick? Yeah, I don't. Yeah, remind me when that happened there, boy. Okay, so boy here telling us that Shepard would have picked up a T20 hat trick against Bangladesh in October of 2025. All right, boy. So yeah, man, respect for that information. And again, that's what we love about the massive hit community and fans. Very, very knowledgeable. Always have the stats and the facts at their fingertips. So thank you for that, boy. So Shepard, Spring, Chess Roll Boss, Springer, and Jason Holder, the 3 players who have picked up hat tricks. Shepard picking up his second hat trick in T20 internationals. All right, so guys, that's it for today. The West Indies winning their first match and getting off to a good start in World Cup action. Again, a massive hit cricket. the place to be for all the World Cup updates, all the World Cup post game. We'll have the post game shows. We'll have the watch alongs for the West Indies games. We didn't do a watch along for this game today, but we'll certainly have one for the English game, the game against England. We'll certainly do a watch along for sure. So definitely keep it locked in to Massive Hit Cricket, where you'll get all the updates. A couple of morning to you, Jamor Smalls. Morning to you, Windies Fix. Yes, definitely Windies. Good start to the tournament. Jamor Smalls, I agree with you. Yes, a little bit of nerves there. You know, in this game today. At one point, again, yes, the Scottish, looked as if they might challenge a little bit. But again, I think that's good for the West Indies team. It is good for them to come under a bit of pressure, especially the bowling, and so we can see how they will sort of execute going forward, because we will face stiffer opposition. We'll face bigger challenges for sure at some point going forward. So yes, a bit of nerves, but for me, that's a good thing. It's not necessarily a bad thing. All right, guys. As always, keep it locked in. Keep it locked in to the Massive Hit Cricket Show. And as always, what do? We stay massive. Peace. Bye for now.